Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome in to the Gramlich and McClain podcast. It's another beautiful Friday, Eric McClain, to talk some football. And yet again, Duke is in our big three. No one on planet Earth would have predicted that Duke would make two separate appearances in the big three by September, whatever. But here we are, Mac. Unbelievable.
It's crazy, KG. Come on. I'm excited to see this Duke Blue Devil team. And I think Coach Elko might have seen it. Other than that, I agree. Nobody else knew that. But yeah, great weekend of football, loaded up, some really fun games on here, and we are a week away from conference play all throughout. Cannot wait. Some of these teams, of course, have dabbled in the play of conferences, but some are about to dive right into it. So, KG, I'm excited. I'm excited to get it going.
I like the way you said that, Mac. Dabbled in the play of conferences.
Thank you.
That is hard to believe. It's going to be October. It's going to be spooky season. And, we've got a lot of great games on October 1st coming up, including Clemson, NC State. Just a teaser, all right? That Wednesday episode for a special guest, I'll just say this, Mac. There will be more than one guest.
Come on. Gosh. Is this the biggest episode?
More than
this
one.
Is the biggest episode we've ever done. Ever.
I would say so.
Outside of Media Day didn't count. But it's going to be that type of vibe, just so y'all know. So y'all know.
It's going to be very fun. So just get ready for that. And if you missed our KJ Henry episode on Wednesday, go listen to it now. Go watch on YouTube. Subscribe, all that jazz. We'd really appreciate it. Before we start breaking down these games, I want to, in the spirit of transparency, tell the listeners that you and I are both 7-8 so far in our picks.
78.
Not bad.
Great number.
78. That's Mac's old number. Not bad. Not amazing. Just kind of somewhere in the middle. So this week could be where we separate, because I think we're disagreeing a little bit on some of these lines. And I got to be honest, Mac, all of these lines, they're weird. Like, all of these lines to me are weird. They smell fishy. I don't know what Vegas is up to.
Right.
I love it.
Yeah.
But it's going to be fun.
I'm betting they're going to change a little bit before Saturday, too. I think there's going to be a little bit of change in the air. We're recording this early, guys. This isn't Saturday morning. So I think this thing is I think it's going to change a little bit. The other thing, a little bit of a vet move here by me. It only took 200 – what episode is this? 208? It only took 208 episodes to realize this. I didn't put my picks in the rundown that I sent to KG.
Smart.
So now she does not know. She can't have the competitive advantage. This is straight up. We're figuring it out right now together.
So I can't copy you. Even though, of course, we're 7-8.
So you can't pick against me and try to get her win. Like Coach Rick sometimes does that. It's unbelievable.
Because he has the luxury of going last. I get that. Okay. But still, I don't like these lines. Anyway, you'll see why. Let's jump into our Big Three breakdown, the three biggest games of the weekend. And we'll start with the biggest, the game between two undefeated ACC teams. Number 5, Clemson, at number 21, Wake Forest. This is a nooner on ABC. Right now, Clemson is a 7-point favorite. The total is at 55.5. The line is very interesting to me at the beginning. I thought it would be more. When you look at how Clemson has dominated Wake Forest in recent history, really since Dabo Swinney's been there, he hasn't lost to Wake. The last loss to Wake was 2008, and that wasn't Dabo. That got Tom Bowden fired.
Right.
So it's been a long time. And as we were talking with KJ Henry, this is a Clemson defense that seems to never really have any issues with the slow match that Wake runs. And Wake's coming off a weird game where they only beat Liberty by 1. I'm just surprised by this low line, Mac.
I am too. And I'm even more surprised by this. ACC, 2 weeks in a row, biggest game of the weekend with ranked opponents, ranked matchups, excited for this one to be another one. I can't believe, honestly, that game day is not here at this game. I think it just goes to show
they're probably saving it for Clemson NC State, perhaps. You don't want to go to Clemson. You don't want to do a Clemson game 2 weeks in a row.
I'm sure they did that with Georgia a year ago. I'm sure that they did.
Well, always.
But yeah, when I'm looking at this, I like you. I was surprised to see that line. I thought it would be double digits for sure. Just historicals and what Clemson has done to Wake Forest these last 13, 14 times that they've played. And so when you look at that, I'm with you, and I'm surprised. I'm surprised it hasn't changed yet. This was the same line that was on Monday, and it's later in the week. So excited to just see this game. I think that there's a lot of things that each team could take advantage of. Let's start on the Clemson side. I've been so impressed with DJ, and to see his progress, to see his transformation right before our eyes, and the way that he is really just taking all this criticism in stride, doesn't care, just keeps going, and is getting better each and every week. His mobility has been fantastic. We did not see that once last year with him, freely running when lanes were open and taking those open shots and really being a difference maker, with his legs. He's a big, strong guy. He runs the draw very effectively. He has this long hesitation where he sticks it and then cuts. It's almost like a sham god, if you will, for those basketball players out there. He's just throwing that thing out there on a rope and bringing them right back, just killing people with that. But also, trust in his pocket. Come on, kid. Could you sham god, KG? Have you ever done the sham god in a game?
Of course. No, not a game. Not a game.
Of course.
I didn't try to dribble as much, Mac. I was trying to get that ball off.
That's catch and shoot. Yeah. I understand. But just to see the progress from DJ KG, it's been really impressive.
It has. And I thought KJ Henry's insight on this whole thing was really fascinating because, we always forget that these guys are so young.
Right.
And we've asked different people this question, but I just don't think a player can prepare mentally for the pressure and the scrutiny that you get when you're a quarterback, especially at Clemson, Ohio State, Alabama, Georgia, Texas, whatever. And I think it slapped DJ in the face last year. It really did. And the fact that he was able to come back, not just be better physically, but obviously he's been able to master some things mentally. And, when you have, there's Sam.
Sam's
there's
ready.
Sam right
Sam's
there.
excited.
Sam says, amen. That's what she says. Sam may be a little bit of a Clemson fan. We're not sure. But when you look at the mental aspect of this quarterback battle, on the flip side, Sam Hartman talked to us last year about how he had to overcome some things mentally. And now, of course, he's overcoming things physically, getting back on the field, which is great. But when you look at Wake's offense and Clemson's defense and that matchup, Mac, Clemson's defense has really dominated.
Right.
With the slow mesh, when you have guys up front that are just game breakers, and they can get through and they can tackle that running back the second he gets it. They can blow that play up.
Right.
We think Brzee will be back. We think Tyler Davis will be back. Xavier Thomas, we're not sure. But that the Clemson D-line to me is the game changer here. What can Wake do to thwart that, Mac? What can they do differently than they haven't done in the past?
Yeah, well, what's going to be really interesting, KG, is seeing what do they do schematically. Do they change it up? Do they change and not try to really force the issue with that mesh, whether it's the RPO or the run game, knowing that historically it does not work. It does not work against Clemson.
Exactly.
They get too much pressure. They get too much penetration. Their defensive line is just better than your offensive line. And that's been the case year in and year out here now. I don't think you want to die on that hill trying to prove that point that our guys are much better. So to me, use what you have to your advantage. You have unbelievable wide receivers. These guys are emerging as one of the best units in the entire country. We knew about the top three, okay, with Marin, A.T. Perry, Green. We knew they were going to be really good. My guy, Keyshawn Williams, is stepping up, had a huge game a week ago. Jamal Banks is showing that he is a more than ready to, contribute type of guy. Get the ball in their hands quick. Max Pro, chip with your tight end and or a running back. Slow those guys down to where you can get the ball out. And I'm not saying you have to take these crazy shots downfield, but when you do, you expect those guys to win. Clemson's banged up in the secondary.
Right.
We're not sure the status, of those guys and who's playing, who's not playing, who's going to be available. If you have a freshman on A.T. Perry, let's ride. I'm trusting that guy, 10 out of 10 times that he's going to be able to win that matchup and he's going to be able to do the things necessary. But all that it revolves around is, can you protect Sam to even be in that situation? Can you do that? Because Clemson's defensive line is coming, and they're schematically, they're going to blitz. They've seen even I love what KJ said. He said Liberty looked at what we did, and they did that the first couple of plays. So what does that tell you? Clemson's defense, Clemson's scheme is still going to work, even though this is a different year, even though this is 22, with better players. Clemson obviously has better defensive players than Liberty has. So that's what I'm excited to see, KG. What do they, can they get after it? Is that breaking news? And get after Sam and put him in a tough situation. On the defensive side of the ball for Wake Forest, just create turnovers. You do
That's
it
the key.
So well. I mean, they're top 10 in the country at forcing turnovers. And if you look from a year ago, they're even higher when you combine the 2 years. So, put stress on these wide receivers who have not really delivered time and time again for DJ. Force them into those tight windows, and maybe you can steal a ball. But it's going to be fascinating. I think kind of the X factor, if you will, of this game is just going to be Will Shipley and how hard can he run? How much can he, really force the issue that, as we know, is going to open up passing lanes for DJ?
If I'm Clemson, I'm running the ball first and foremost because I know Wake can't. So if you're Clemson, you can control the clock and control how the game's played. To me, turnovers are the key here. If Clemson turns the ball over twice or more, I think Wake has a very good shot of winning this game. And some of that could be, the young wide receivers. If DJ throws up 50-50 balls and those get picked, that's a huge game changer, game breaker. So I think the turnovers are huge. Going back to Wake's offense, you basically said it, but I want to clarify. If you're Wake, are you just forgetting about the run? Like, are you just not even trying to run it?
I don't think you can quite forget about it. And again, we talk about being balanced, right? Balance does not necessarily mean 50-50. Balance doesn't mean if I call 20 passes, I have to run it 20 times. Balance really at its core means if presented with the opportunity, I can do this. So if Clemson is leaving the box wide open, if Clemson is saying, hey, our three guys up front are going to get enough pressure, we're going to really try to max out in the coverage and make it hard for Sam to throw the ball, then the balance part is you should be able to run on that. You should be able to establish something there if given the situation. So again, don't force the issue. Don't abandon it because you can't just let people tee off. If they know, think about if Brian Brzee knows that you're passing it every time, what's he going to do? He's going to put his butt up in the air, take off, and just not even worry about run fits. And so if that's the case, I think it could get ugly quickly, but certainly more of an emphasis getting the ball to our weapons and do it quick. Right. So don't completely abandon it, but also know where you have the advantage. You're just running to show it, okay? Yeah, you're running to keep them honest. Right, exactly. But in the way Wake's going to win this game is, A, I think forcing turnovers, and B, getting the ball to their wide receivers who are better than I think the wide receivers are better than Clemson's DBs right now because of Clemson's injuries. And of course, just the overall wide receiver room, I think Wake's is better than Clemson. So I don't think it's close. That is your advantage. Mac, before you give us your key to the game, and we make a pick here, I'm going to give you my stat. And this has to do with the lovely spread that we're discussing. Clemson is a 7-point favorite. Clemson is 3-1 against the spread in their last 4 games versus Wake Forest. And as I mentioned earlier, I'll just throw this in there. Wake has not defeated Clemson since 2008, which got Tommy Bowden fired. So 3-1 against the spread in the last 4. That surprised me a little bit, that Clemson has covered that much against Wake as of late. Right. Yeah. No, I like that. I think it's pretty crazy to look at. The key for me is really simple, and it's the same key for just opposite sides of the ball. For Sam Hartman and the Deeks, it's just give him time. Let him throw the football. Protect him at all costs. If that guy can go back there and go through 1 or 2 reads, man, you feel really good about your situation. That means guys are getting blocked. Your offensive line is doing their job, and you're probably throwing for a bunch of yards. On the defensive side of the ball for Clemson, you got to get after that guy. You have to make him uncomfortable. You have to get him moving out of the pocket. Do not just let him sit back there, build snowmen, and hit AT, hit Marin, hit Green down the field screaming, wide open for big plays and big touchdowns. So it's one and the same. I cannot wait to see this matchup. As I said, this is the best game on television this weekend. It's crazy that it's at noon, but it's on ABC, and that leads in for a lot of eyes, and I think it's going to be a great game. A lot of people are going to love it. I like noon right from game day into watching the game. That's right. And the ACC is really owning ABC this weekend because you've got Clemson, Wake, and then UNC Notre Dame at 3:30. We'll get to that in a second, though. I'm going to take Clemson -7. Mainly because of just the recent history with Clemson versus Wake. Yep. I think I'm going over 55.5. When you look at last year, Clemson scored 40+, Wake scored 20+, and a lot of that Wake scored late. I think Wake is going to, if this game goes similarly to last year, I'm not saying it will, Wake's going to try to keep scoring, try to make the score look as good as possible. But also, because of how quickly they can score, they're never really out of it. So I'm going to go over in Clemson -7. I'm going Clemson -7 for sure. I think they win by more than that. And what's interesting to me was last year's explosion of points, Clemson letting off the pedal or Wake Forest figuring something out. That's what I can't wait to see because obviously like in the they had a lot. Yeah, they had a lot of success. They scored a bunch of points in the second half. Was that just it was Clemson's third string? Was that Wake Forest? Okay. maybe this will work. So we'll see. I'm going to take the over as well. I think both of these offenses are better this year. And so with that, we saw the explosion of points a year ago. I'm going over, going Clemson with the points.
Give us all the points. We love it. All right, Mac, as we said, Duke is in our big three yet again, and it's where they belong, frankly. Duke at Kansas. Kansas is a 7.5-point favorite. This is also a noon game. You're going to need double screens on FS1. When Duke played Northwestern earlier in the year, they were on FS1, so this seems like a good omen here. Why wasn't game day at this game, Mac? Like, this is the real Champions Classic right here.
Well, here's the deal. It's history. They've never been to Kansas. They've never been to Duke. So
it would be cool.
You're knocking two out. But you go to Tennessee, Florida? Is that who it is? Like,
boring.
Come on. There's better opportunity to go to Knoxville. This was a pretty big miss, I think.
I agree. But they also just went to App State, so they're like, let's go back to
Keep it going. You know what also is weird? Game day's been to like every game that's not their game. It's on another network. Yeah. It's on another channel. It's strange. It's kind of weird.
It doesn't make sense. But anyway, Kansas is 7.5-point favorite here. The total 66.5, which means people think there's going to be no defense. I think that's pretty high. But when you look at Kansas, Mac, they beat West Virginia. They beat Houston. They blew out Houston. Jalen Daniels is a star. He is a dual-threat quarterback for Kansas. He's actually a homegrown. He's not from Kansas, but he's not a transfer. He's been there for 3 years, which kind of surprised me because I thought for sure he was a transfer, and I look him up.
Right.
No, he's been there forever. He's leading the country in QBR. He's accounted for 10 touchdowns in 3 games. This is a big test for Mike Elko, defensive mastermind. How does Duke scheme this up and contain Jalen Daniels? They haven't really seen a dual-threat quarterback like him this year.
Yeah, well, I think what's interesting is, just to touch on that number real quick, that's 66.5. These are two of the most efficient offenses in the entire country. Kansas, number 1. Duke is like 5 or 6. So these guys know.
I love that Kansas is number 1.
Right. Isn't that crazy? I mean, they're moving the football and they're scoring at a very high clip. I'll start with Kansas here because, as you said, Davis is freaky. Like, his athleticism flies off of the screen. That this guy is a heck of a runner. He can absolutely kill you. Inside zone, counter, draw, quarterback power. They do it all with him, and it has been so fun to watch. Just studying this tape, I mean, he kills people and honestly looks like a running back there with his vision, his cutting ability, how twitchy he is.
But he also can throw it.
Right,
he's had 3 passing touchdowns in the last 2 games.
That's what I'm telling you is this guy, when he really can figure out, okay, let me extend this play to get it downfield instead of just I'm bigger, faster, and stronger than everybody, he's going to absolutely kill people. And so what Duke has to pay attention to, this was kind of similar to, a week ago with, the Seminoles and when they're going against Cunningham, those DBs have to stay so disciplined. They have to understand, I can't just sprint up, even though this guy, I think he trusts his legs better than his arm. You can't just scream up and leave somebody, wide open. Defensively, I'm super interested to see the attack here from Duke. Do you put like a guy like Shaka or do you put one of these safeties and just spy? Just have them sit right there. I'll take everything underneath, but mainly I have quarterback. I have Daniels. Anywhere he goes, I'm going to go. So who's the most athletic guy that we have if we're Duke to do that? And who can actually bring him down? Because this guy can run through you as well. So going to be interesting to see that attack. You also have to worry about a couple of really good running backs from Kansas. These guys each have, 200 yards, 4 touchdowns apiece with Neal and Highshaw there. So, just seeing what are they going to do from a defensive standpoint will be fascinating. When I look at Duke's offense and the way that they have been moving the football, it's been so fun to watch, Riley. I mean, this guy can sling it all over the yard. He's used his legs very effectively. Kansas has shown a little bit of a weakness in that. The quarterback can, get some big runs. Houston's guy, not even close to the same athlete that Riley is, and he was running all over him. So is that something where, we might see him run a little bit more in this game just because it's so wide open? So I'm very interested, KG. This quarterback battle, under the radar, underappreciated, I think it's going to really deliver.
Super underappreciated. Let's put some appreciation on this game. And you bring up Riley Leonard running the ball. He did a great job of that against A&T. I know it was A&T, but he showed his speed. He showed his athletic ability. That's why you can throw down a 360 dunk, as you've seen. If you missed that, go on our YouTube page. So I think both of these quarterbacks are super talented. I do think it's going to be kind of which team can outscore the other because Kansas has given up points. I think Duke is coming in you could say with the better defense. Now, Kansas has played better opponents. West Virginia and Houston can both score. So whichever defense can really show up and do something is probably going to have the edge here. Mac, I've got to be honest with you before I give you my stat. And I'll give you a second to if you want to talk me out of this. I'm leaning Kansas. I think the difference in this game is that this game's at Kansas. I think that's the biggest difference. I've been reading about what Kansas is expecting fan-wise. Like, if you give these Kansas students who normally go bonkers for basketball, if you give them a reason to show up, Kansas is a big school. I mean, they're going to bring some fans and I think bring some a true home field advantage. They're behind Lance Leopold. They believe in him. They want to keep him, not let him go to Nebraska, which is what has been talking about. So it worries me that this game's on the road. That's where I'm leaning initially. And my stat will really blow your mind too, Matt.
Oh, no. Oh, gosh. It's going to be something about Duke losing. Oh, here's the deal with this. Duke's defense is so much improved. They're playing
they are.
So confidently. I still, even with this line right here, I do not think that Vegas is taking any of that into account. I mean, they were 10, 11-point
Vegas
dogs
has
to
been wrong
Northwestern.
on Duke. They've been wrong on Duke the whole year.
Right. That's what I'm telling you. So
true.
I think this is free, easy money right here, guys. There's no way Duke's losing by 7. Like, come on. Figure this thing out. I think those guys, again, defensively are playing with a crazy confidence. Let's see here. I have it written down. My eyes are so bad now. I'm just kidding. They're not bad. I just can't see. 8th nationally, KG. 8th nationally in turnovers created. What a turnaround. I mean, these guys gave it left and right, and now they're 8th nationally and creating the turn. So the point of emphasis there is massive. When you have a running quarterback, they're not the best at tucking that football. Let's knock that thing out. Let's get the rock. And I think they're going to do it. I think the defense is going to be what wins this game with 2 high-powered offenses that want to score, are very efficient. I think this defense can make some noise, get some extra opportunity, and Duke finds a way to get it done.
We agree on the defense being kind of the X factor. I love that you just said, my eyes aren't good. Just kidding. No, you're saying I can't see. My eyes aren't good.
It's kind of a dual thing here. So for those that have locked in on YouTube and see us all the time, I have shifted my desk. So now I'm in front of this window just so lighting is a little bit better.
Your lighting looks spectacular.
The sun is bouncing off of my neighbor's house. And so I'm trying to look at my screen and it's just kind of getting blasted.
So Max is being blinded.
My eyes are actually fantastic. But when you have light smashing into them, they're not great.
Wow. Amazing. This is the insight you come for. Okay. Here's my stat, Mac. I'm going to go and tell you I'm taking Kansas minus 7.5.
Perfect.
The hook, the 0.5 I don't love. But you know what? Vegas is doing that on purpose. The stat is Kansas is 6-0 against the spread in their last 6 games.
Cool. That's it? That's
okay.
all you got for me?
Yeah, that's kind of a big deal.
Come on. That
goes
means
back to last year.
They're due. They're due to lose.
Man.
And that's what's about to happen right here. Okay. Listen, I'm rocking with the Road Dogs here. I'm rocking with the Blue Devils until proven otherwise. A year ago, I never picked Duke because they're never going to win. Now, I've got to get burned first, and then I'll leave you. But I think, again, that defense is going to do a great job. I think Riley is a better passing quarterback. So if things get weird and this is a high-scoring game, you need something, I'm leaning with Riley. So I'm taking Duke straight up here.
If the Kansas fans don't show up and it's not rowdy, I will stand corrected. I
relegation.
Think that's going to be a factor.
Relegation.
No, both Duke and Kansas are forget that. I'm not getting relegated. They're out here balling. Okay, the final game of our Big 3 breakdown here, Notre Dame at North Carolina. A game that we were all pretty excited for when the schedule came out, thinking, we might have 2 undefeated teams. Yeah, right. UNC has held up their side of the bargain. Notre Dame is 1-2. Unbelievable. But North Carolina is a 1.5-point favorite. 3:30 ABC, the total's 56. FPI gives Notre Dame the edge at 54%. I'm not sure what the reasoning there is. Mac, actually, no, I'm going to wait on my stat because this stat is just mind-blowing. But overall, let's start with Notre Dame because we haven't talked as much Notre Dame on this podcast because they're not a member of the ACC and they won't join. Right. But their starting quarterback gets hurt. Drew Pine is now the guy. The video went viral of Tommy Rees just ripping him. Do your job, man. F. And the poor guy is just looking petrified. It's amazing that Notre Dame even beat Cal. They flat out can't score. I mean, that's the thing with Notre Dame. They can't score. And what can UNC do, Mac?
not defense. This is perfect.
No, I was going to say UNC can score.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's true too. Okay, well, let's start with Notre Dame. Because I had that written down. I was just reading that. So when we look at this, quarterback is an X factor, right? We have no clue what's going to happen. We don't know what he's going to do, how he's going to perform. Is he having nightmares of Tommy screaming at him?
That
Coach
was
Reese,
savage.
Excuse me. It was savage.
It was rough.
I can only imagine the frustration levels, though, that he was going through.
Yeah, but that's your backup. Like,
I get it.
Man.
You got to get him out. It's a different position. That's why it's the hardest in all of sport. Running back Chris Tyree has been impressive for the last couple of years. He doesn't seem to be the bell cow right now, but he's also probably the best weapon because he can just do so much in the return game as a running back, as a pass catcher. So I think you still have to get him really involved. The one guy that needs to have at least 10 targets minimum is Michael Mayer.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy
he's the best player. He's Notre Dame's best player.
Yeah, he's Adonis out there running around. He's 6'5.5", 265 pounds. Like, he is a freak. Get him the football. You have to. Do a little shovel pass, hand it off, whatever it takes. Let's be creative because this guy's so good that he can make people just look absolutely stupid. Defensively, Notre Dame had a lot of excitement coming into this year. They have big Isaiah Foskey coming back at defensive end. They've got some really good pieces at linebacker, defensive backs. They lost a couple, but they feel good about where they are. And those guys just haven't been quite there. They haven't delivered as much. Now, there have been flashes we've seen where you're like, oh, there it is. That's what we expected to see. But on a consistent basis, KG, it just quite hasn't yet. So I don't know when you have a high-powered offense as UNC has, who's averaging like 50-plus points a game right
Literally,
now.
yeah.
50.
51.
Whose quarterback delivers the ball, who's calm as a cucumber. He's going to be at home, getting the ball to his guys. Maybe Josh Downs is back, the best player, on the team. And if that happens, I mean, look out. So I've been very pleased with what I've seen from this UNC offense. Better than expected, I'd say, after you lose a guy like Sam Howell. Running back Amarion Hampton stepped up massive. I knew that guy was going to be a beast from day one, and he's really delivered there.
Mac, I see your numbers in this rundown. By the way, you're bringing a little KG stats and info. I love it. That the ACC is 9-37 overall against Notre Dame, which is interesting.
Crazy.
Since Notre Dame started playing the ACC all the time, those numbers have gone up. Tar Heels have lost 4 in a row to Notre Dame and are 2-20 all time. It makes me think back a couple of years ago when Notre Dame was really good, the year they played Clemson in the ACC title, the COVID year. And North Carolina really pushed them at home, but they just didn't have the depth at the end of the game. Notre Dame really controlled that second half. But in that game, Notre Dame had a quarterback. They had Ian Book. They had a solid run game. They had a defense with pros on it. They don't have that now. I mean, this offense, the lack of offense for Notre Dame, I hate to simplify it too much, but Notre Dame can't score. All UNC does is score. I just don't know how Notre Dame keeps up. I think if you're UNC, you go out there and you say, this isn't about Notre Dame at all. This is about us. Can they keep up with us? We're going to go play our game. We're going to go play fast. We're going to go score the rock, and you're going to have to score 35 or 40 to beat us. That's the way I'd approach it. If I'm
and that's the maturity that I hope that we see from them, and that you don't see the brand, you don't see these numbers that every Notre Dame fan is going to be throwing at you, that the team's going to be throwing at you, and the feeling I'm sure will be there. Like these guys aren't dumb; they know, in the last times that they played them, they haven't been able to keep up. That is not the case, as you just said. I mean, the confidence that this offense should have moving forward, it's electric. And when you have a quarterback that is as confident as Drake, I mean, this guy's in the media talking about NC State. That game's like 6 weeks away. I loved it. I hate that he apologized.
Why did he have to apologize?
I hate that the card 99 came out and he had to say sorry because I thought it was so funny. And who cares? It's just so banter.
That's what makes.
He grew up a Carolina guy. What else is he going to say? He's had a Carolina Blue Rattler in his hand since he could walk. Like, what are we doing?
The rivalry's fun. Like, chill out,
Exactly. I'm with it. So I loved it. But it just goes to show you his swagger and his confidence.
Yeah.
So go out there, deliver. It's tough historically to pick against Notre Dame here.
Right.
But I think, as you said, the offense is just too good. The key to me is, again, it's going to be the key for North Carolina time and time again because Drake's so good. Just let him cook. Give him time. Give him a little bit of time. Go through his reads. 1, 2, 3, balls out. I mean, these guys have eight wide receivers with 7 or more catches or over 100 yards. He's dishing it to everybody. I mean, it's nuts to see. And like I said, if you see Josh Downs come into this offense, just having that go-to guy is going to make it so much better.
And that's without Josh Downs, which is unbelievable. Okay, KG Stats and Info real quick here. I've got a couple things. UNC ranks 7th in the nation in third down conversion percentage. They're converting over 56% of their third downs. On the opposite end, Notre Dame ranks 124th in third down conversion percentage. They're converting 26% of their third downs. This defense,
that ain't good.
I'll say a little part about the UNC defense. They got to step up, force them off the field. If you're only converting, one of every 4 third downs, make it happen. This is the other stat I wanted to share with you, Mac. Tell me if you've ever seen this kind of discrepancy between two teams playing. Points per game through 3 games. Notre Dame, 18.3. UNC, 51.3. Look, I get it. The opponents have been different, all these things, but I've never seen that. I've never seen that kind of difference between points per game. That's unreal.
It's crazy. One thing to keep in mind too, though, you talk about the opponents. I mean, this is North Carolina's first real test. I mean, they've been playing FCS and G5 and had their hands full. This is the first one, so I think we're going to learn a bit about them. And some people are saying, "No, Notre Dame's so bad." That defense can still get you. So it's going to be interesting. I think we learn a lot from UNC here. I'm taking them to cover, as crazy as it sounds. I'm going with them to win here. And I'm actually going to go the under. I think that, number 1, Notre Dame can't score. Number 2, North Carolina might struggle to score, at least at first. And so I'm feeling good about under 55.
I like that too. I like the under. Maybe a little more nerves and just not playing as loose.
Right.
But I like that this game's in Chapel Hill for UNC. I'm taking UNC minus 1.5.
Yeah. And they're coming off a bye. There might be some rust.
Yeah, that too.
It's a weird thing coming off a bye because you're like, okay, we're healthy, but we haven't played. So it's a weird thing. It's a weird thing.
As offensive people, Mac and I could not pick Notre Dame in that kind of situation. When you're averaging 18 points per game, I can't pick you. It's against my religion. Okay.
No. Well, here's the question, though. Do they score more than 18 against Carolina?
Probably because it's Carolina's defense.
That's right. That's
Probably.
a great answer.
Also,
great answer.
That was not, when I said it's against my religion, that was a joke. There was nothing to do with Catholicism. Okay, anyway, just going to put that there. All right. Friday night. Tonight. Let's get to the speed round. We've got a few other games to break down here. We've got another Friday night game. Last week's Friday night game, Louisville and FSU delivered. So will this one? I think so. Virginia at Syracuse. Syracuse is a 9-point favorite. This is tonight, 7 p.m. on ESPN. The total's at 53. FPI is 86% Syracuse here. Who would have thought, Mac, that 3 weeks in, going into week 4, we would have this matchup and we would all say, without a doubt, Syracuse has the better quarterback in this game. At least how they've performed this season, okay? I mean, Schrader has been unreal. Syracuse is coming off a game where they didn't play as well offensively as we've seen in the past. UVA is coming off a win, but they played okay defensively, and they only scored 16 points. Right. They fumbled the ball 3 times. You've got the Robert Anai storyline here. I don't really know what to make of this game, Mac. What do you think?
Well, here's really all you need to know is Sean Tucker is going to rush for like all the yards. Like this, Virginia.
You have so little faith in this UVA.
Virginia is going to have so much PTSD of what Illinois did to them. They're going to see it again. They're like going to think it's that game, but it's not. It's Sean Tucker, somebody better, just hammering them time and time again. I think this line has moved a little bit. It was double digits. Now it's down to 9. I think Cuse does it. I mean, I think that this offense is playing at a high level. The confidence in Garrett Schrader is at an all-time high. We're going to see Sean Tucker, I think, be angry and want to have a much bigger game. And against a defense like this, I think he does that no problem. I think the defense for Syracuse is maybe not quite embarrassed, but not happy. They were not pleased with their performance either. Sean Tucker wasn't a week ago. They're not either. I mean, they got like housed, 450 passing yards almost on those guys. They're going to want to make a statement, especially against this struggling UVA team. These guys are number 1 in the ACC in drops. So for whatever reason, Brennan and these great wide receivers, loaded room, they're not on the same page. And so I think Cuse takes advantage of that. I think they get it done.
I feel this game makes me uncomfortable because I think 9 points is just a lot for an ACC game on a Friday night. But
mind you, they just killed Louisville. Don't forget that.
We all took Louisville to cover, and that was stupid. And Syracuse made us look stupid. The one thing that I think is the difference here, Purdue has a very talented quarterback and wide receiver in Charlie Jones. they pass the ball all over the place. The old UVA, you'd think they're going to do that. But from what they've done this year, it really hasn't happened. But I think there's potential for that to happen. And Syracuse, again, is coming off a game where they didn't look great. I'm going to take a flyer. I'm going to take Virginia +9. I think Syracuse still wins. I think short week, maybe an uglier game. Give me Syracuse to win, but give me Virginia to cover.
I can see it happening.
Okay.
Because of what we just saw from
But you're not going with it.
But I'm not going with it because I got to see it. I can visualize it. I have to see it. I have to see it physically happen.
Let's see some pride from UVA. That's kind of what I'm going for here.
It's nuts. It is nuts to see the regression from these wide receivers and just not getting the brain of the ball. And a lot of people want to say quarterback. Number one in drops in the league, guys.
Crazy.
I'm looking at when they target Wicks here. 12 of 37, only 150 yards. No TDs, an interception, and a QBR of 11.
That makes no sense.
One of the best receivers in the country. Crazy. It's crazy.
All right, so it'll get fixed. That's what I'm saying. It'll get fixed. All right, so Mac's taking Syracuse. I'm taking UVA. We'll see. We disagree on that Friday night game. All right, Mac, let's get to speed round here. Let's roll through these. Pittsburgh and Rhode Island. There's no line on this. Pittsburgh, like I said on our Monday episode, I thought that was a really good program win for them last week to win with their third-string quarterback at a team that beat them last year. Who plays? I mean, I think at this point, if Slovis is still not 100%, you don't play him here. There's really no reason to. And Pittsburgh should be completely fine against Rhode Island.
I totally agree. Like, let's keep Nate in there. Let's build for the future. Let's get him some confidence. Maybe let him throw the ball, upwards of 20 times in the game. And then also just to see – is he continue to ball out? This guy has really came into his own here. Really what I expected from the beginning of the season here. 2+ games, over 130 yards. Defense needs to go out there and continue to feast. I'd love to see them finally go off. Like, let's see 5+ sacks from these guys. Be that defensive line we know you can be and get it done. This should be a simple, easy W. A lot of guys getting playing time. Go flex your muscles 2 weeks in a row.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. All right. I think this game is very interesting, even though the line is crazy, because how does NC State look as they get ready for Clemson? Number 12, NC State.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Hosts UConn.
Little look ahead.
No, I mean, the line intrigues me, but mainly I just want to see kind of what you were saying on Monday. Let's see Devin Leary get some confidence back in this game.
Right.
NC State's favored by 39. Against UConn at home, 7:30 p.m., ESPNU. That's the main thing I'm watching is how does this NC State offense look? Can Devin Leary maybe develop a little more rapport with some of these receivers? And, I mean, he has it from last year. It's weird that we haven't seen it this year. And, of course, Sumo Cornbay is just that dude. Get him the ball. But that's what I want to see here from Mac is let's have Devin Leary go pass the ball for 250 at least and then sit, not get hurt. I know, but we'll see how much he actually plays. But let's see him look good here.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Cleaner game offensively, game from Devin. I mean, it just looked strange. Like,
it's
not the
weird.
same page, overthrowing guys, miscues. Like, let's get it going. 300+ is what I want to see. Multiple touchdowns. With Clemson on the horizon, you just brought it up there. I am interested to see are we peaking a little bit?
Yeah.
How you doing over there,
Very
Clemson?
possible.
And then this is a weird game, or are we going to show we're ready to be a dominant team? We're ready to take this next step, and we're going to kill these guys, and we're going to cover and be just fine. I lean towards that. I lean towards the latter there, especially after that first game kind of wake-up call against ECU. Offensively, too, I need to see Devin Carter get the football. It has been so strange to see his lack of production, lack of targets even. So hopefully he can get really going. And then defensively, love what I saw from those guys a week ago. They looked fast, physical, aggressive. I think we see more of the same that here today, and that's why I think NC State covers. And line-wise, I'll say over just because I think
at 49
I'm going to go under. I'm going to go under. You just saw my brain working, doing math very slowly. I'm going NC State with points, and I'm going to go under.
I'm going over, and I think UConn covers. I think UConn is an improved team. They're going to score probably 10, 14, so give me the over. I know. They are improved, Mac. Don't lie. You know UConn's improved. And I think NC State is looking ahead a little bit. So I think NC State could win this.
I like that.
Give me, 45-10. UConn covers.
Okay.
Easy.
I can't wait for your logo to be on that UConn thing, and NC State people just blast you.
We might not even put that one on.
No, we're going to do it. I
graphic.
think we should do it.
But y'all heard me. I stand by it. I stand by it.
I love it.
All right, couple more games here. Florida State, a team that should be ranked, is not.
Yeah.
If they handle their business, they will be. They're undefeated. They host Boston College, 8 p.m. ACCN prime time game. Florida State is a 17.5-point favorite. Mac, I don't like that. That is too many points. That stresses me out just because what's Jordan Travis's status, right? And if he does play, is he still did we even hear what the injury was technically?
Something to the leg, nothing specific.
To me, it's very odd that he has to be kind of like taken off and he's on crutches and he can't come back in and then he's fine next week, like completely fine.
Right.
I don't know. That's odd to me. And if I'm FSU, if he's not completely fine, I would just play Rodemaker in this game.
Absolutely.
With how good he was against Louisville and how bad BC's been, you should be fine.
And how bad BC's run defense has been for 2 years now. And guess what you do really well? Run the football. So absolutely. I think if there's even a question mark that he's not ready, there's no point. There is no point. I mean, if this was an undefeated ranked BC, sure. We need you to win. This is an Atlanta game. But they have way too many weaknesses that I think Florida State can exploit without their quarterback, that it's not a necessary thing to risk further injury. So, man, that three-headed monster running back is going to be cooking. Those guys have been electric all year long. Doesn't matter who they play. They're going out there and getting theirs. Defensively, for Florida State, I mean, just light fill up. I mean, that's the biggest key. I'm pressuring them. I'm sending all kinds of stuff. That offensive line is playing so poorly right now. I don't even know if they could target you correctly. So just go up there, send what you send, and you might have a couple of people hit home. But one thing that you have to pay attention to when you do that is Zay's going to be one-on-one, and he's dangerous. So if Phil finds him, if Phil can hit him, I mean, that's a guy that can absolutely hurt you. For BC, I think on the defensive side of the ball, because I kind of just spelled out what you need to do offensively is get Zay the ball a million times. I would 1,000% sell out to stop the run, KG. I would rather go 0 across the board and get burned than not be able to stop the run, or at least limit the run. I mean, if Florida State has more than 200 yards rushing and we don't see a concerted effort to stop that, I think that's a bad coaching effort at the end of the day. And
that's what we know. That's what FSU wants to do. That's their bread and butter. Even whether it's Jordan Travis or Rodemaker, they have 3 legitimate weapons at running back. Yeah. And that's what kept them in the game against Louisville when Rodemaker was kind of figuring it out. But I think, this line stresses me out because to say at the beginning of the year, you're going to take FSU.
Say it.
No, but imagine this, Matt. You're going to take FSU minus 17.5 in an ACC game. I'd be like, what?
No shot.
Why am I doing that? But things have changed. And it's not just FSU in this game. It's BC. How bad BC has looked. It's just been
do it with me.
Shocking.
Come on.
I feel uncomfortable, but I'm taking FSU to cover, but I feel uncomfortable, Mac.
Yes. What are you, over under? Where are you going?
48.5. I don't think BC is going to score, so I would go under. I don't really know how BC is going to score.
Yes. Take the points. Take the under. This is going to be a horrible game. It's going to be a horrible game. FSU is going to roll. My brother EJ Manuel is home. He's going to be so excited. Cannot wait to see his face and his excitement.
The EJ factor. It's a good point.
The EJ factor. Don't forget, he's going to be in the locker room getting those guys jacked up.
A Jameis speech kind of thing?
Much better.
EJ.
All right, we got 3 games left. Let's
little more. He's going to handle that. Okay, 3 games left. Let's get to these. So Louisville's playing South Florida. South Florida with Jeff Scott almost beat Florida this past week, but didn't. But still, this game, at first you just thought it was a dub, but now I'm a little more worried for Louisville. Okay. I think Malik Cunningham just needs to do what he does, but I don't like 14.5. That stresses me out. Everything stresses me out this week, Mac.
You're taking the Bulls here? You're taking the Bulls?
Yeah, give me South Florida plus 14.
All right, we've got to make an extra graphic. This is perfect. We're doing it. We're making more graphics. I'm taking Louisville because I think that South Florida is going to be so drained.
That's
so much emotion went into that game. And I think Leak is cooking at a high temperature right now. I think Malik is going to absolutely go on. He's rushed for 100+. He's thrown for 200+ in the last 2 games. I think he's continuing to get better and feel more and more confident as the only guy. And I think he thrives in that. I think these guys really get it going. The one thing that's interesting is will USF be able to run the football? They killed Florida.
They did.
Almost 300 yards rushing. Louisville's run defense has been better. Will be interesting to see there. I'm taking the Cards, and I'm taking the under.
Yeah, 64 is a really high number. Not only where is USF mentally, where's Louisville? Think about that too, Mac.
Sure. All right. At 1 and 2, absolutely.
Yeah. Miami, 25 Miami playing Middle Tennessee. Miami's a 27-point favorite, 3:30 on ACC Network. Got to bounce back here, but you don't have Restrepo still. He's out for 6 weeks, which is an absolute bummer. But I think Miami's going to bounce back. But to me, this is super easy, Mac. I'm taking Middle Tennessee plus 27. I don't think Miami covers like that. I mean, they beat Southern Miss 31-7.
This is amazing. This is so awesome.
I'm throwing out winners.
The confidence that there's going to be so much separation.
This is going to be great.
Weekend.
Are we just counting every pick? We're just counting every pick.
We're going. Yes,
right,
I'm going to be so embarrassed come Monday if this happens the way that you think.
I'm also living on the edge. I will be very honest here.
I think that Coach Cristobal and this staff have put the fear of God into these guys. I think they're going to
Does that always work?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I just think that they play super inspired. I think that they saw the opportunity that they had a week ago. They couldn't finish the drill. And I think that they're going to want to kill Middle Tennessee State or Middle Tennessee. I think they honestly go out there with we want to hurt you mentality because of what happened a week ago. And with that comes a lot of points, a dominating defense performance. TVD locks in. These receivers lock in and catch the football. And I think these guys roll. I think they roll.
If Restrepo was playing, but
you feel a lot better.
TVD hasn't really proved to me that he can that another guy can be his go-to. He missed Restrepo.
Yeah, because they drop it. Yeah,
it's on both of them. It's on both.
Well, here's the deal. If you throw it so hard it gets stuck in their face mask, it counts for catch. So that's what I'm just kidding.
We have been wild in this speed run, and I've loved it. Okay.
I do too.
The last one, Mac, I think we're agreeing here. Georgia Tech at Central Florida, 4 p.m. on ESPNU. Central Florida's a 20.5-point favorite. Georgia Tech didn't score against Ole Miss. I think Central Florida covers. I think this is just sad.
Here's one rule of thumb. Never, ever, never schedule on purpose a directional Florida school. Don't do it. You don't want those problems. And guess what? Central isn't even a direction, but you don't want to do that either. So I'm with you. I think that these guys roll. I think Georgia Tech is in a dark, dark place right now. I would love to just know the, level of commitment from guys, from other staff members. It's got to be a weird place because everybody and their mom is screaming, Jeff Collins on the hot seat. Jeff Collins is gone. And you hear that. We're not deaf. We're not dumb. Right. We're not on media. Twitter. Those guys see it. And do I think that's smart? No. Is it going to happen in this world? Probably. And I hate it. But it's something that can affect your team. And I think it's going to affect these guys right here. They're going to the bounce house. It's going to be nuts. It's going to be electric. Good luck. Hold on.
And to your point, Mac, these are 2 games that Georgia Tech does not need to play. Ole Miss and Central Florida back-to-back.
Did Dan Radakovich do this? Do I need to call Dan? No. Is he the reason for all this?
I don't think this was scheduled. Well, maybe if it was scheduled 10 years ago.
I bet it was.
10-plus years ago.
We're going to get Dan on the line. We're going to ask him, why did he do this to Georgia Tech?
Why? We keep ending with Georgia Tech. Such a sad note. Guys, we made some wild picks today. Mac, if you want, we'll put them all on Twitter. We'll see what happens.
Our guy,
UConn
Brett,
to cover, baby.
Yeah. BG is going to be working overtime. He's making the graphics. We're doing this thing. But, guys, that's it. Another great episode. A great weekend ahead of us. Cannot wait to break it all down on Monday. And then we just keep rolling. Weeks are coming in a hurry. It's a lot of exciting time. So do what you can. Go get SiriusXM. Get it on your phone. Get it in your car. Let us just go with you everywhere that you go. But we also need you to go over to YouTube.
We will follow you.
We will follow. Is that a song? I will follow you. Okay. Anyway, but go over there, rate, review, subscribe.
We got to end this.
Always great to hear from you guys. But until next time, we'll see y'all.